Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 2v2 Warhammer battle. This is going to be the Empire and Vampire Counts versus Bretonnia and the Wood Elves. For this army, I wanted to bring something a little different, so I brought double steam tanks. Behind them we have a line of swordsmen with the great swords in the middle. We have a warrior priest over here. We have a witch hunter over here, because why not? And then I'm bringing the arch lector up there in the middle. We have one group of handgunners, and then one group of spearmen, and then the amber wizard up here flying on the griffin. For my ally, we have Skeletal Spearman, Graveguard, Mortis and Jin Vargul, Vampire of Death, Vampire Lord, two Black Knights, Blood Knights. Then for the enemies, we have two Deepwood Scouts over here. We also have the Glade Riders. And then the rest of the Treeman army are going to be two Treemen, one on each flank, a bunch of Treekin, Durthu, and a Branch Wraith. And then for the Bretonnia, we have a whole bunch of Peasant Bowmen, Chalice, Grail Relic. Then we also have a bunch of Men-at-Arms over here, some of them with pole arms. And then we also have some Battle Pilgrims and the Damsel of Life. The rest of the forces are over here with Albrecht of Bordelot on a horse, leading groups of 3 Knights of the Realm, which are going to be coming out soon. So I'm going to go up here, do a little bit of scouting, and I wanted to try and get a Flock of Doom right here to hit a bunch of units. But we're not going to get that, but I'm still going to cast the Flock of Doom just to see how it's going to do. So we're just going to go, Flappy Bloops over here, then we're going to be like, Flock of Bloops, Flock of all the Bloops over here. As my two steam tanks are just going to open fire on the Treeman and knocking him down, having him have a bad day. I didn't even get this group, really? They're like right on the edge. Get in there. There we go. Flocky bloops. Oh well. Little bit of a flocky bloop. Yeah, the steam tanks are just going to be concerned about dealing with the treemen. I'm going to move my riflemen over here to support the vampire count because they're going to be dealing with a bunch of heavy armor over here, so that's what they're going to be doing. My spearmen are eventually going to move over here to support the rifles, but I'm just going to kind of leave them be for now. And for a little while. So here we go, Albrecht of Bordelot and the 3 Knights are going to be going into Lance formation. And so then they're going to be marching up, trying to get into our swordsmen here on the flank. I'm going to be marching one of our steam tanks over here, giving the arch lector over here, and then also flying the amber wizard over here who got hit by a round of peasant bowman fire. Meanwhile over here, the vampire lord and the vampire count's dealing with the Deepwood scouts. Treemen are also advancing. They're going to really do a ton of damage to this one swordsman because, they get hit by like 3 Knights of the Realm. But we're going to counterattack with, again, the steam tank. We're getting the arch lector in there, getting some buffs going on. We're going to get the amber wizard to cast another flock of bloops right over here. And you can see we've already terrorized one of the Knights of the Realm and almost killed him with the steam tank. There goes our flock of bloops. I'm not really doing any overcast flock of bloops because I don't want to deal damage to our amber wizard because I feel like we may need him in melee combat. That's why I brought him on a griffin specifically. And there we go. We have chased Albrecht of Bordelot and their knights off for now. Going to have the steam tank take some shots into their backs as they are running off. And then I'm going to move our army over here because you can see the Bretonnians are advancing on the vampire count. And the Wood Elves have already kind of engaged with the Treekin, who are very good at being tanky. Treeman's still getting nailed by the steam tanks, though. And then Durthu's over here trying to support their ranged components with the Branch Wraith against a bunch of summoned zombies. The Vampire Lord is going to be trying to finishing off the Glade Riders. And you can see the Deepwood Scouts have kind of had a bad day. But now Durthu's going to try to engage against the Vampire Lord. Can't really catch the Vampire Lord as long as the Vampire Lord is on top of the micro. And again, I can see, like, right here, you could tell the way that the Bretonnians were advancing that they wanted to try and knock out the vampire counts to take out their Mortis engine. Well, take out the vampire counts. But you can see they're actually taking out the Mortis engine. And so that's why I was like, oh shit, we really need to respond here. That's why I'm moving as fast as I can. I'm like, bloop, bloop, bloop. And they're like, okay, bloops. And then we're going to go over here trying to intercept their men-at-arms. We're going to try and get into their peasant bowmen. And what's awesome about people who have a bunch of ranged units focusing on one target is that they like to kind of bunch up and because they're shooting at their max range. And it kind of bunches them up. So then my Amber Wizard is going to be like, flopping in here like floop, floop. Oh wait, actually you should be turning the other way. There we go. Now he's going to be flapping, flooping all the way over here, and we're going to be like, oh, that's a nice flock of doom. So we're going to flock of bloops right there. Also, I'm going to try and run my steam tanks. Now the thing is about the steam tanks, a lot of people like to use them just as siege engines. The thing is though, they have insane armor. They have really good melee weapon strength. They have a really good charge. They're kind of like mini chariots, but they are also fear and terror units. And against a Bretonnian, well, you should really use them in melee. So I'm trying to get them in melee, although this one's just kind of casually driving. They should be running, but they're not yet. But anyway, we're going to have a flock of bloops being dropped here. It's going to be a beautiful flock of bloops. As our swordsmen are going to be supported by the witch hunter over here, we're going to cast the accusation on the Damsel of Life. There goes our flock of bloops. We got the arch lector in here who's going to be popping off buffs, and then we have the warrior priest trying to get these two swordsmen, great swords and swordsmen keep their leadership topped off with their benediction ability. And again, my rifle's just going to be over here, just kind of sniping all these treemen and the treekin. Over here on the right flank, I believe most of the archers have been taken care of. Durthu cannot catch the Vampire Lord, and now a bunch of summoned zombies are trying to kill the branch raid. As again, my rifle's just like... boop, 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 boop. And the Bretonnians are going to rout really quickly. We get the steam tank right up in there, both of them on their flanks of the Bretonnian peasants, and they have no leadership, so they are going to rout after the flock of bloops, and we just kind of charge the backline with the Amber Wizard and the 2 tanks. Now we're going to come back behind these guys and try and do some chariot damage there. And again, we cast Accusation on the Damsel, trying to finish her off and get her out of this battle. Swordsman being backed up by these steam tank doing pretty well. Our selector's going to come back in here and try and support this fight in the middle. Also getting our greatswords over here as well, as we are just chasing off half of their force. Here comes Albrecht de Bordelot. For some reason, Albrecht de Bordelot led his knights over here. You may notice on the map, they were just chilling right here for a long time. And now they're finally marching back up here, so I'm going to be like, hey man, welcome back, flock of bloops. You get a flock of bloops all day, every day. As we continue chasing their forces off all over the place. Meanwhile, the treekin are slowly being just withered down by the vampire counts, the mortis engines AoE, and then my riflemen have taken down a treeman, working on the other treeman, and now they're going to be attacking Durthu. I'm trying to get them out of these trees, though, because some of the shots are actually being blocked. And I'm just going to keep these spearmen in front of them, just to keep them protected. I'm not going to engage the spearmen unless I have to. And here we go, Albrecht de Bordelot and all those knights around are going to pile into our steam tank. None of these are really armor-piercing, so we're just going to take this damage, and then we're going to come up behind him with the other steam tank. Witch Hunter's going to start, I believe, shooting in the backs, because he was chasing the Damsel of Life and shooting her in the back, but now we're going to shoot them. Another beautiful flock of bloops. Getting the Warrior Boost over here, not for really any real reason. It's not like these units need any leadership, but he was nearby. Some of our units are out here chasing the enemy Bretonnians that are still routing. We have a swordsman, we have some, I think, Black Knights. Yeah, some Black Knights chasing some of the peasants, as our rifles are now focusing down Durthu and the treekin. The ancient treeman is near death. And yeah, the Bretonnians line is just gone. And now we're just dealing with the steam, or with the Knights of the Realm. Just shooting into their sides here with one steam tank, as the other one just keeps their attention. And you get another flock of bloops on your way out. Amber Wizard over here trying to break up what remains of the Bretonnian battle pilgrims with the help of the Archlector and some swordsmen and greatswords, as we continue to just fire into the backs of these Knights of the Realm. Witch Hunter is now chasing off the Damsel of Life. I didn't realize she shattered, so I'm going to pull him off eventually. Actually, I think he's going to shoot the Knights of the Realm or these guys. Can't remember which one, but he's going to shoot somebody. Riflemen just still slowly picking off Durthu. And now the treekin, not supported by the Bretonnian army like they thought they would, are going to rout. Battle Pilgrim's finally going to rout. Archlector trying to bring down the Grail Relic, but damn, that thing is pretty tanky. Also, the Archlector is just a really tanky hero, not necessarily a very offensive one. His weapon damage is pretty low, but he is super tanky.
To battle, brother.
Also, he's just cool. I mean, he wields dual Warhammers. Like,
Turn around.
this dude's pretty cool. I like the Archlector. So yeah, you can kind of see that maybe they're not going to win this one. We're shooting off these men-at-arms, then we're going to shoot into these poor treekin with the steam tank. This steam tank, I think, is firing into these Knights of the Realm who are chasing a Black Knight, I think, currently, and then we're going to give him more flock of bloops. Since I haven't been overcasting the flock of bloops, I've been able to cast just a ton of them this match. And again, we don't have any healing in this army, so I didn't want to overcast a bunch of flock of bloops and like kill my Amber Wizard just by miscasting. Which is why I haven't been doing the overcast, which I believe does extended effect duration. I think that's all that does. And there we go, the mass shattering of the Wood Elves and the Bretonnians. So again, good game to FYC, SCX, and Vanquisher, who, this person was not happy with my army and my allies' army. They called my army cheese because I brought 2 steam tanks. 2 steam tanks is not cheese. Don't let anyone tell you 2 steam tanks is cheese. They're just upset that they lost to it, because it's not really a meta build. And then they called FYC, I think they called it a Death Star, which it wasn't. Like, their troops were very clumped up. The Mortis engine was kind of stuck in there, but it's not really a Death Star build at all. At all. Especially since their Vampire Lord was off, like, on the flanks with some knights and some zombies. Like, no, what? They were just very upset that they lost, I think. So yeah, don't let anyone tell you double steam tank is cheese. It's not at all. But anyway, in terms of kills, my leadership did really well. Flock of bloops. The other leaders just kind of supported the frontline swordsmen and great swords who just kind of wrecked the Bretonnian infantry to death. The steam tanks with their fear and terror just kind of charioting inside to their lines made the peasant bowmen rout, and just like steam tanks are pretty good chariots, and they're just really good units. They're at their worst if you only use them for their cannon. Their cannon is nice, but they are pretty decent, like in chariot units. Their melee attack is not the greatest, but their melee damage is still great, and it's armor piercing. They're unbreakable. They have 160 armor. They're tanky as hell. And if you bring a life wizard, which this is so dumb, you can heal their hit points with a life wizard, which is the dumbest shit ever. And they really need to change that, because that makes no sense. That makes no sense at all, how you can heal a steam tank with life magic. No sense at all. But anyway, so I'm really proud with how my army performed today. FYC held off all those treekins, the treemen, Durthu, and all the entire Wood Elf army really well, and allowed my riflemen time to just focus till they got 2 kills. Listen, they were shooting a treeman, another treeman, and then Durthu the entire match, okay? So it doesn't look like they did much, but good God, they did a lot of hit point damage. And FYC's army held all the trees at bay and allowed my rifles to fire their guns. Speaking of the treemen, pretty respectable kills, I guess, for the treekin, because they're not really offensive units. The treemen also got a decent amount of kills. The Deepwood scouts kind of got singled out early, and then Durthu still did some amount of damage, but when they joined the main army, they just kind of got focused down too. They just couldn't stop my gunners. And when the Bretonnian player, when these Knights of the Realm kind of went off to the side of the map, I thought they were going to be circling around to try and get my handgunners, because I had kind of left them by themselves with just a spearman unit. But they didn't even do that, which they should have, because the rifles were murdering their ally. But no, they instead just came up and charged a steam tank, I think, which is not a good idea. Speaking of the rest of their army, they just melted. I mean, yeah, they just melted. These guys got some good kills against those swordsmen early on. Then they killed some Black Knights at the end, but besides that, they didn't really get to do anything. And yeah, the peasant bows, we charged through the front line with 2 steam tanks and an amber wizard and just crushed their back line, because that's what those 3 units would do. But again, good game to everybody. Hope you enjoyed that battle, and let's go watch the cinematic view. I love watching big creatures just get shot to the ground. Oh, and you just got up too, man. Block of bloops. Alright, get up again, dude. We won't shoot you again in the face. I lied! I lied! Oh, they didn't fall down this time, though. This poor treeman just wants to get to the front lines. Back of the head.
At speed!
Oh, that steam tank's like, sit the fuck down. Oh, man. That's okay. You kept your footing. Nice job, nice job. Yeah, these poor swordsmen are about to have a bad day.
Weapons drawn! Yes, General! Charge!
That's okay. We got a steam tank nearby.
At speed! War! It is an honor. Now!
And again, their melee attack is armor piercing and very high damage, so don't be afraid to run steam tanks into melee. Block bloops. Yeah, we're like, get the hell out of here. They did wreck those swordsmen though. They are dead.
To battle! No! With speed! By Dalmaraz! In the Emperor's name! Quickly!
That treeman is still trying to get to the front line. God, we just... He just can't make it. He just can't make it. Just stop. Just stop hitting him to the ground, steam tank. That's so rude. I didn't realize how many times we knocked this poor tree down. finally gets to the front line, then we just have a whole bunch of gunners shooting him in the face. Look at this Archlector. He's gonna take these men-at-arms by himself. He doesn't need help.
At speed! Hammers ready! Glory to the Empire! Behind us! We obey!
So cool looking. Block of loops. Team Tank's just gonna run right through. Excuse me, Battle Pilgrims. We got peasants to kill.
Sigma calls! Attack! Now! Protect the flanks! Now! Moving out! Quickly! Sigma guides us! Yes, sir! As we go! Quick march! Help our allegiance! As you say! They may remember us in the after! To battle! Fire! Fire! At one! March!
Fire that steam gun cannon. Or a tank.
Charge! Yes, my lord! No lingering!
That steam tank's coming for you.
Now!
Oh, that's right. The Knights charged my Witch Hunter, which seemed kind of odd, and then they charged the steam tank. Good luck.
Let's go! Seeking the enemy! Moving now!
About to get flock of bloops.
Wild destruction!
We got a Knights of the Realm sandwich here with the two steam tanks. Kinky.
Take the ground!
But then I was like, you know what? Let's just pull away and shoot these dudes in the back. That's what we're gonna do.
Limber weapons!
Alright, and turn, and fire, please. Thank you, thank you. Nice shot. Block of bloops.
Magic untamed!
Beautiful shots.
Beware! Foul eldritch deeds! Duty! For the Warhammer! The Emperor will save us! Magic untamed! No lingering! Prepare for combat! Fire! To slaughter!
Where are you guys going?
Let us go! Riders!
I guess they don't want to play anymore.
For the twin-tailed comet! Limber weapons! Take the ground! It is against Sigmar's peace for the twin-tailed comet! Take a position!
Bloops, can't run.
We are blessed by the enchantment!
And there we go. So hope you enjoyed the double steam tanks, everybody. I will see you all next time. Take care.